such an important one, though. This is just, I mean, it's over a 60-year occupation and continued stealing of the lands. It's outrageous, outrageous.
Parts that you did not hear about, you get to hear it if you're outside the U.S., but this country is so controlled by the Israeli lobby, you never got to hear the part about him telling her in like a really fierce, blunt way, what the hell is the big deal? That's how we said it. In Israel, we treat blacks like dogs. It's just the way it is. And it's sad that the U.S. media not one time replayed that part of the audio clip. I'm a Palestinian American. I've lived here my whole life. This is the Nakba protest. This is the anniversary of when Israel took over Palestine.
What year was that?
That was 1948. Israel didn't simply just become a state. They displaced 750,000 Palestinians when that happened. Small towns, one of them, for example, called Deir Yassin. It's been noted in many books written by Jewish professors themselves, like Professor Norman Finkelstein, Noam Chomsky. They wrote about the Nakba, which towns like Deir Yassin and other towns, people didn't simply get asked to leave. Israeli soldiers simply just entered these towns and killed men, women, and children, you know, elder men.
Free, free! Palestine! 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 Free, free! Palestine!
The untold horrors of 1948 are still largely denied by Israel, and what's worse is that the injustices have continued to this day. As the world's largest open-air prison, with its inhabitants living under constant siege. John Kerry came under fire a couple weeks ago for using the A word in talking about Israel, and while he quickly apologized and said that it was best left out of the discussion, the point is the Palestinians have been saying this all along. So let me say this loud and clear for everyone. Israel is an apartheid state.
Some of you know me. My name is Sylvia Schwartz. I'm with the Minnesota Break the Bonds campaign and the International Jewish Anti-Zionist Network. And Minnesota Break the Bonds campaign is working to divest Minnesota from its investments in Israel bonds. A little over 66 years ago, a 3-year-old boy was forcibly expelled from his home in Jaffa, Palestine, joining the 750,000 Palestinian refugees of 1948. These people were never allowed to return to their homes in contradiction to international law. This little boy grew up in Lebanon, made his way to Minnesota, where I met him and married him. Now's the time for all of us who believe in real peace with justice to increase the pressure on the Israeli government to end apartheid, to end colonialism, to end its racist policies, and to end human rights abuses.
In the early morning of Tuesday, October 22nd of 2013, Rasmia O'Day was arrested by Homeland Security at her home in Chicago. She was charged with unlawful procurement of naturalization, an allegation based on answers she gave on a 20-year-old immigration application. Rasmia O'Day grew up in Palestine during Nakba. Her and her family were forcibly removed from their home in Jerusalem when she was just a baby.
This political system wants us to believe that Israel is a defender of freedom and democracy, when in reality, Israel is the modern apartheid state. End apartheid now! Thank you.
But don't be scared, and make sure you keep waking up and letting people know that if you don't stand up and you don't go ahead and wake up and speak up for your right, this country will be taken down to soon will be called the United States of Israel.
Systematic genocide has obliterated the victims from the mind, forced ethnic cleansing, and stole fertile land from her mother nature. Someone once told me, "How dare you compare this to the Holocaust?" I bit my tongue and rolled the words back in all the tight places. They were too tough to swallow, so I held them with quivering fingers and placed them in my eyes. Maybe if I look at him hard enough, he'll understand.
From the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free!
from the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free!
We stand in solidarity with Palestinian people in the struggle against the continuing Nakba.
killings, evictions, transfers, imprisonments, and daily humiliation.